Hello guys, welcome to phase 2 of the dice class. This is the phase that we get into the most common bet, the number one bet, the one thing you are going to use the most. Which is why we devoted an entire phase to it, even though it's a little bit shorter, it's a little bit easy, it's actually a lot easier if you already understand everything from phase 1, which you should, then phase 2 is going to be easy. I'm going to get rid of the puck for right now, because we're just going to talk about the bets. So this time we're going to talk about place bets. We've already covered pass line bets, don't pass bets, come bets, and don't come bets. And we talked about how the come bet is a great way to bet other numbers, and that you can use a put bet to pick your numbers. That is pretty old school. The most common bet now are place bets, and that's the reason why we said with your come bets to make sure they do not touch the line. They are all the way inside, because place bets get put directly on the line, okay? And they follow the exact same order. So on this side of the table, this is next to the stick, this is bottom hook, this would be top hook, and then this spot right here is next to the dealer. Okay, it curves around the table. The other side of the table will go the other direction. So the positions are the same, only it's halfway on the line. Some tables it's just going to have one line, so it's halfway on the line. Okay, that's why come bets should never touch the line. Now place bets, the player will put them themselves. They will place them themselves. They will not place them themselves because they cannot reach into this area. This is the dealer's cash register. They will put the money out here and they will tell the dealers what numbers they want. So first, let's talk about how they pay. Now, place bets are not like come bets. Come bets are contract bets. Once they've traveled inside the number or are put into the number, they're a contract bet just like the pass line. They cannot come down until there's a win or loss. There must be a decision made. And then you've got the flat bet, which pays even money, and then you've got the odds. So let's talk real fast about the odds because we've already discussed this once before. So we're going to do it in terms of fives. $5 in odds on a 4 or 10 would pay 10 bucks, right? $5 in odds on a 6 or 8 would pay 6 bucks, correct? And we're going to run out here. $5 in odds on a 5 or 9 are going to pay $7.50. Now again, odds have zero house edge. Place bets have a house edge. So let's look at these bets and see if we can't figure out how they might pay. They have a house edge, but the house edge is small. They keep a small house edge. We're not looking for a 30% house edge over here. So if odds with no house edge, if you're 2-to-1 favorite, or 2-to-1 underdog really, so the odds would pay 2 to 1, 5 would pay 10 bucks. So if we wanted to build a little bit of a house edge in, what would we pay 5 bucks? Well, let's pay 9 bucks. Puts a small house edge. Actually, that puts a huge house edge in. Puts in 10 bucks, which is something we're going to talk about at a later point with the place bets. Later point in this particular video. But as a place bet, 5 is going to pay 9 bucks. That's going to give it a small house edge. So for the 5 and 9, as a place bet, 5, if it was even odds, true odds, not even, but true odds would pay $7.50. So 5 pays 7. And over here, 5 would pay 6. Now place bets, people aren't going to want to bet a bet that is going to pay even money. So if we built a house edge into this, we'd have a lot of difficulty making 5 pay 5, but we can't have 5 pay 6. So what's the solution? 6 pays 7. That puts a small house edge.
That makes me remember that story you told me
Yeah. So that puts a small house edge in onto your bet, and that's how the place bets pay. Place bets will pay exactly how it is right here. The player can take them back if they wish to. They can turn them off, and I'm going to cover how that works in just a moment. They can take them down, put them back up. They can only bet some of them, and we're going to cover the next video. We're going to cover the most common methods of them. But real fast, and now I'm setting this up for a $5 table. Good luck finding a $5 table. Now most people, when they do place bets, they're not going to place the point because they have a pass line bet generally. But people are able to place the point if they like, which we're going to also cover an interesting little detail on that in just a second. But let's talk about how you can turn them off. Because some players will do that, especially the superstitious ones. The superstitious ones are going to say, hey, you know, dice just went off the table, turn my bets off. Okay, cool. We're going to place an off button. We're going to place an off button on the bet that is closest to the box. What that means is that from this point forward, all those bets are off. If we were to do that right there, that means that the 4 is working. And from here up, every one of these bets is off. Now, a trick that you'll see sometimes when there's not a lot of people playing, because if you have this full, you have no space to manipulate, so you're just going to have to do a bunch of off buttons if they want to do something weird like I'm about to show you. But let's say you have a player that says, you know what, I just want my 6 and 8 working. Just my 6 and 8. Well, because that happens sometimes on a come-out roll. On a come-out roll, when this puck is off, place bets are automatically off. So these are off. So maybe they just want them working. They say, hey, I want my 6 and 8 and only my 6 and 8 working. Well, we could do this, which would say from here up, they're working. But then we've got this saying from here up, they're off. Or we could do that. Put it in a different position. So you will see that from time to time, but it only works when you don't have a lot of players on the table, because you can't take the risk of that bet getting lost within all the rest of the bets. So it's only when you have 1 or 2 players on the table. Now, one thing about place bets. Let's say you have a point. Let's say we just set the point, and we have a player that is coming in late and says, I'm going to go ahead and bet the pass line bet. Actually, I'm going to use a different number because the 6 and 8 is a bad example of it. Let's use the 5 and 9. I want to go ahead and do a bet the pass line with odds. A good dealer is going to say what you actually want to do, because once the dice roll, this becomes a contract bet. It's locked in. But if they just put it down, the dice have a move, they can pick it up if they want to. You're going to say what you really want to do is you want to do that. You want to do that right there. Directly on the line, heeled off. It's called placing the point on the line. That pays just like up here. It is placing the point. It's doing a place bet, but you're placing the marked point on the line. Now, why is that better? Well, let's see. These are improper odds, but the odds pay 22, and then the flat bet here pays 15, right? So that pays $37 on $30 in action. 37 bucks. A $30 place bet, however, now remember, every 5 pays 7, correct? So a $30 place bet is going to pay 42 bucks. Exact same amount of money at risk. Makes more sense to place it, which is why a good dealer is going to tell the player you want to go ahead and place that point. Especially on the 9 and the 10. The 5 and 9 and the 4 and 10. 6 and 8, it comes pretty close. This right here would pay 33. This right here would pay 35. So it's still better, but when you get down to some of the lesser ones and ones that end up improper, it's not quite so clear cut. Now, let's talk about the thing that confuses people the most. Every 5 pays 9. Every 5 pays 9. So 5 would pay 9 bucks. 10 would pay 18 bucks. 15 would pay 27. Until it becomes what we call a buy. Becomes a buy. Every casino that I know of will be a buy at 25. To the point that when players say, I want to buy the 10, they mean 25. Even though a lot of casinos now set the buy point at a lower level. Some even will say $10. So 5 would pay 9. But at 10 bucks, it is now a buy. Now to be proper, you move it inside the bet and you place a buy button on it. However, most casinos don't do that anymore because at a certain level, it's always a buy. So they just leave it there because you know it's a buy, especially ones that it's a buy at 10 bucks. Especially since most of those places don't even have $5 tables anymore, so the 4 and 10 are always a buy. Now, what is a buy? Well, do you remember with direct lays, how you would set up your direct lay and it would pay odds minus a commission, only they had to pay the commission up front, right? And the commission The VIG, 5%. Well, a buy is odds. Only they pay a commission, a 5% commission. So as we said with the 4 and 10, or with the direct lays, the commission is always based off of the amount that is the lesser amount, be it the bet or the payout. So for lays, the payout is always the lesser amount, the smaller amount, because you bet more to win less. With a buy, the bet is the lesser amount. Because remember, on the 4 and 10, it's double odds. So that 25 would pay 50. Now, this is one of the few cases where the casinos do not keep the breakage in every instance. Typically, if somebody owes say $1.25, they have to give us $2. They owe $1.02, they have to give us $2. However, with the 4 and 10, just like if the casino owes you $4.95, you're getting $4. Now with the 4 and 10, the quarter point is usually where they call it a courtesy buy. We're still only going to charge $1. Now on 50, most casinos are still only going to charge $2. Now this right here is an exception where I usually say that if your commission is $1.49 or less, or it's 49 cents or less, the will generally round down. But when it hits 50 cents or more, it'll round up. The $50 point is the exception, is the one difference. It's the one time. So buys can confuse the living crap out of people. Now with the 4 and 10, because it's a policy that it becomes a buy at a certain point, the VIG is not paid up front. It is not paid up front. There might still be 1 or 2 casinos floating around, especially outside of Vegas where there's less competition, that will charge the VIG up front. But most places will not. Obviously, direct lays, we charge the VIG up front. But with the buys on the 4 and 10, we do not charge the VIG up front, which means the 25 actually pays 49 because it pays 50 minus $1 VIG, right? Now, one question people ask is, can I buy the other numbers? Yes. Should I? Hell no. Buying the other numbers is absolutely stupid because the 4 and 10, the commission is paid after the fact, when it hits, when it wins. Anything else is like a direct lay and they pay the commission up front. So let's look at this for a second. Let's use $30 because it's even on the 5 and 9. Okay? So $30 right here pays 42. We've already covered that. Okay? $30 pays 42. Well, a $30 buy, they would have to give us $1 up front. Right? That pays 45. Now they already paid us $1, so actually, technically, we pay 44. Oh, but wait, hold on a second. What is the actual commission on that? It's $2. It's $2, which means that once they get paid, they would have made a $43 profit, but since place bets stay up, and a buy, most people don't play just one hit and then come down, which means that they need to keep it right back up. So they need to pay us a VIG again. So all of a sudden we went from making $42 on a $30 bet to making $41 in profit. Gets even worse on the 6 and 8. So that's why, because of the VIG up front. Now if the VIG is afterwards, then if you have one of those rare casinos that allows that, then the 5 and 9, it can actually make more sense, be more profitable to do it as a buy instead of a place bet. Now for the final thing for this video, the puck. Back in the day, the pucks were just white and black. The on and off, people seem to think it refers to the point. It does not. The on and off does not, which by the way, I think I forgot to mention previously, but when you set the puck, it better say no to you as the dealer. So then it says on to the players. You definitely don't want it to say no for the point to the players. So, this way. Now, the on and off, what they mean, what they refer to, is that while this says off, everything up here that can be turned off is off. Which means that, say a 7 were to roll, the only thing that would lose on here is the flat bet. right here because it's a contract bet. Everything else can be turned off, so it is automatically off. So that is your introduction to place bets. Stay tuned for the next part.